Thank you so much for once again for having me on board today. And I'm just looking forward to deliver as much value as possible. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing all? Thank you so much for waking up on a Saturday morning and listening to me. It becomes my responsibility to make it very, very engaging. And I just expect whatever questions that I ask in between. Don't worry, it's not going to be something like a Viva. It's just a simple questions. But I want all of you to provide answers through a chat message so that I get some understanding that you all are listening to me and you are not sleeping. Although I prefer if you all can have your cameras on so that you get more attention towards what I'm saying and you can listen better there, right? So once again, good morning. And first of all, I'm just sharing my LinkedIn profile on the chat window. Just in case you want to follow me, you can do that because I keep on sharing a lot of things about data analytics, about the life as journal, about the corporate world and things like that. So I'm sure you'll be able to learn something from there. Great. So every single thing is a data. Every customer is a data. Every click that you do is a data point. Every ball that is bowled in a cricket is a data point. Every time you go and visit a store, that's a data point. You, me, everyone is actually a data point, right? And for the social networks like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, we all are not people there. We all are actually the data points only, and they are making money by using these data points. So I've not designed this lecture or this masterclass as a complicated thing because I'm sure that is something that you are already learning through EduBridge or through any other videos that you watch. My idea is to guide you today that how to look at the numbers, right? Believe me, by doing any 2-3 months course, anyone can fetch the numbers. Anyone can create a dashboard. Anyone can create a report. And that is easy, right? It's like giving you raw material to cook the food. So the groceries can be delivered at home very nicely. Same is the point with the data. You can get the data very, very easily. But not everyone knows cooking. And therefore, not everyone knows how to cook the data and create some beautiful stories there. And I would just try to make you realize this, that how this can be simplified and how this can be practiced, right? So moving forward, I'm just talking about the 5-6 things that we will talk about. One is there an abundance of data or is there an abundance of analysis in this world, right? And what is it that's there in plenty? Second, we'll talk about is what actually is analysis, what should be the best approach, and why is it more important? Then we'll go to the day-to-day life. I've taken an example of something which is like very close to all of you. That is your income. So I'll just give some very, very random examples about that, how to look at your income, your expenses, and things like that. Then we'll move to, your medical reports or your report cards that you have always seen, how to interpret the data there. We'll talk about some e-commerce metrics as well. And then I'll talk about very, very quickly some best practices, right? So before we move ahead, right, I have a small request to Yasmin, if she can share the first poll question. And so all of you will be seeing one question coming up. Please fill it, and I'll let you know how this data is important to everyone.
Yeah, so the poll is launched. You have 30 seconds to answer the questions.
Yeah, there are actually 3 questions, so you can do all the 3 of them. Now, why I ask these questions, because this is very, very critical for everyone to know your audience, right? And even in business, if you don't know your audience, you are just selling anything to everyone. You are like a small cart or a vendor who's standing on the roadside and he's just trying to sell whatever possible, right? So my first question here was, what language you want me to use? English, Hindi, mix, or none, right? And I've seen that around 63% people are saying that English is preferred. And of course, 16% more are saying a mix. So that means they are okay with English as well. And which means that whatever I'm going to talk today, if I have prepared everything in English, you all will be able to understand. So just think about it, that you are on a platform like YouTube, and let's assume YouTube started in France, and the by default language of YouTube is French. right? Will you be able to use YouTube as much possible as you're doing today? Answer probably is no, right? And that is exactly why it is very important to know your audience. If you would have seen the Shark Tanks, I think there was in the second or third episode, someone came up who said that we are trying to create a OTT platform in a local languages, which is a absolutely wonderful things, because people like you and me can still understand a lot of videos which are in English, but but people like our parents, right? For them to understand uh, anything beyond Hindi could be challenging, right? And that's why they prefer the local, very local language like Haryanvi or Punjabi or Kannada or whatever it could be. They want to listen to things in that particular language. And that's why this OTT platform might do very well. So it all starts with asking for some data and then interpreting it as well to figure it out that is there a gap or not. Now, let's assume I start delivering this lecture in Punjabi, which is one language that I know. Would you be able to understand? Answer probably is no, right? So therefore, this is critical to know your audience. The second question I asked was, what's your education background? 26% said they are doing a graduation, 42% said they have already graduated, right? 11% are saying they are pursuing a post-graduation, and 21% people have said that they are already a postgraduate. Now, again, it's a very good mixture of people here. And although I don't have a very, very specific action item, but the only thing that I wanted to understand from this is how basic or how advanced should I keep my lecture? It shouldn't happen that I'm using some really cool technologies or the wordings which you all are unable to understand, right? So it's very critical to understand your audience and interpret this data that way. I I can just only look at this that okay, 1/4 of the people are doing graduation, half of the people are graduate. I can look at this data that way also, but I want to interpret something out of it. If I've asked this question, there has to be some reason behind this. So what is that interpretation? That is how you also need to understand in day-to-day basis any data point that you see. What does that mean, right? And the last question that I asked is, how much experience do you have? Where 68% of the people said they don't have any experience, which is totally, totally fine. Again, I wanted to understand if there are people who are who are having a lot of experience. Can I use real complex business problems also in this? But probably I will not go ahead with that. So this is exactly how I'll be interpreting this data points that I have just asked you guys, right? So thank you so much for filling that. And this has just confirmed me that whatever I prepared, that's very much in the right lines, right? And still, in case you think that things are going complicated or, I'm not using the right terminologies, then feel free to raise your hand and ask me a question. And of course, in between, we'll be taking those questions as well, right? So I'm moving to the next slide where, of course, we have talked about the poll, and I want to talk about how marketers use this demographics. So let me just give you yet another example. When I joined Ferns and Petals almost 2 years ago, right, there was some conversation happening, and I asked, I said, tell me something, who are our customers? And the business said that we have never inquired about who the customer is, because what matters to us is who the recipient is. So let me just take a minute to tell what Ferns and Petals do. We are into the online gifting space. So let's assume I'm a 24 years old college going boy and I have a girlfriend, and it's Valentine's Day and my girlfriend is staying in a different city. So I want to send a gift to her, right? And what I'll do, I'll just go to Ferns and Petals, fnp.com, and I'll find any gift. Maybe it could be a bouquet, it could be rose flowers, it could be a cake or whatever. And then I'll give the details of my girlfriend's residential address, phone number, and everything. And I want that, okay, on 14th of February, please deliver this gift at her home. So this is what is our business model. Now, what becomes very critical is it that around 18 to 20 years old youngsters are coming on fnp.com and sending a gift? Or is it like there are people who are in their 30s and they are like recently married, or they're in their courtship period and they want to send the gifts to their better halves or their spouse? Or is it like people who are in their 40s and they are sending a gift to their parents who are in a different city? right? Now, all these three are different use cases to handle, and you just cannot have the same kind of a products. You cannot have the same kind of a marketing techniques, and you cannot have the same budget or the price of the products for that, right? And very important to understand is, are people coming from tier 1 cities, or they're coming from tier 2 cities, or they're coming internationally? Because everyone has a different buying behavior. So we broke that data into age, we broke that data basis men versus women, we broke that data basis what kind of a relation are we catering to, and we broke that data on the basis of which city are people coming to, and where do they want the gifts to be delivered. So on basis of these 5 things only, the kind of insights that we have got, it really amazed us. Just think a business which has been in existence for 25 years, suddenly they realize that so far we have never targeted the customers, we were just selling. But now, because of the competition, because of more awareness, and right now, because the technology and online presence is right there in your hands, it becomes very critical that if 18 to 20 years old is coming, I would probably show him the products which are from 500 to 700 rupees, because I know that is the price point that he might be looking at. Whereas a person who is in 40s, if he's coming up, I know that this person is working professional, and maybe the kind of a budget that he has in mind is 1200 to 1500 rupees. And third, if I know that, okay, someone sitting in England is trying to access fnp.com, the kind of a gift that he would be sending would be around 2000 rupees. So this is how the data is being used by marketers, by product managers, by analytics people, and that is how they define the day-to-day strategies to target the right customers and improve the conversion from the allocated set of money to be spent on marketing. From where does all this data come? This comes from the products like Facebook and Instagram, because if you match the email ID of your customer with your Facebook, you can actually get all the details, like what is his age group, which city does he belong to, is he a graduate, undergraduate, what are his interests, and probably just show him the kind of products that are that he can where there is affinity with that person. So just think of it, a few of you are very, very enthusiastic about the new cars or the bikes, right? Now, someone enters your email ID and they want to send you a gift. And if on a real-time basis, I can say that this person is very much inclined towards cars and bike, and I show a cake with a miniature cars, or some kind of a car logos on the top, maybe your girlfriend or your mother or your sister, whoever is trying to place an order, would say that, oh yes, I know this person loves car, let me buy this cake. So the probability of converting just increases with that, with the real-time data. This is how the data has to be used in the day-to-day basis. Last but not the least, let me talk about the customization and personalization. Before I begin, I have this question for you all, that do you guys know what's the difference between customization and personalization? If everyone can just write 2 words, 3 words, and or he wants to unmute himself or herself and tell what's the difference between the two. Customization is when a customer wants something very, very different from what is already being served, right? For example, let me give you a very, very decent and a daily life example. I think most of you people would be going to a place to have the puchkas or the golgappas or whatever. I don't know. There are different names being said about pani puri, right? I'm sure you guys would be having that, right? Yes, no, maybe in the chat window. ठीक है जी, मेरा सवाल ये था कि गोलगप्पे, पानी पूरी, पुचकास कौन कौन खाना पसंद करता है? बहुत सारे लोगों ने यस कहा है ना। वो है एक एग्जांपल ऑफ अ टिपिकल कस्टमाइज्ड प्रोडक्ट, बिकॉज जब भी आप जाके खाना चाहते हैं, everyone has a different demand. Someone wants meetha, someone don't need meetha, someone wants tikha pani, someone wants dry. That is customization, which means every person says, I want it a bit differently, right? Personalization is when businesses understand the customers on the basis of data and then customize the products. Just think about it. Next time you are going to the same pani puri wala, he remembers you and he say, अरे आपको तो तीखा पानी पसंद है, और आपको आलू ज्यादा रखना है और चना नहीं रखना, तो ये रहे आपके स्पेशल गोलगप्पे. दैट इज व्हाट बिकम्स पर्सनलाइजेशन. नाउ आई गिव यू अ कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ अ रियल टाइम बिजनेस. Customization is when you go to a website, say Amazon.com, and then you search for shoes, and then you select that my budget is say 1000 to 1500, and then you select that I need a blue color. This is called customization, because you are giving your choices and the website is changing accordingly. Personalization is when the website remembers on through cookies that this person has come in the past. He comes to my website to see shoes, and he loves blue color shoes, and his shoe size is 9. And next time you're going landing on a shoes, automatically the shoes within your price range, within your size, and which is within your preferred colors start appearing. So that is becomes personalization, where business खुद कहता है कि मैं आपको समझता हूं और मैं वही प्रोडक्ट्स दिखा रहा हूं जो आप बाय करना चाहते हैं. You guys with me? Understood? तुषार, आपके लिए मैं एक बार दोबारा से रिपीट कर देता हूं. जब कस्टमर खुद जाके कहता है कि मुझे कुछ डिफरेंट चाहिए, तो उसे कहते हैं कस्टमाइजेशन. फॉर एग्जांपल, आप टेलर के पास जाते हैं और आप कहते हैं कि मुझे एक ऐसी शर्ट सिलनी है जिसके कॉलर्स बड़े हों, जो हाफ स्लीव्स की हो, जिसमें 6 नहीं 12 बटन लगे हों, और राइट हैंड साइड पे नहीं, मुझे लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे पॉकेट चाहिए. तो दैट बिकम्स कस्टमाइजेशन, जहां पे कस्टमर खुद अपनी प्रेफरेंस से कस्टमाइज करवा रहा है. लेकिन जब आप उस टेलर के पास 2 बार 3 बार जाएंगे, तो टेलर को समझ आ गया कि आपको एक ऐसी शर्ट चाहिए. तो नेक्स्ट टाइम जब भी आप एक शर्ट सिलवाने के लिए जा रहे हैं, वो कहता है खुद कि सर आपको बताने की जरूरत नहीं है, मैं जानता हूं आपको 12 बटन वाली शर्ट चाहिए, आपको लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे पॉकेट चाहिए, और आपको हाफ स्लीव्स की शर्ट चाहिए. तो आई हैव क्रिएटेड दिस शर्ट फॉर यू ऑलरेडी, तो शायद आपको पसंद आए. तो अगर वहां पे कुछ बनी हुई शर्ट्स पड़ी हैं, तो आपकी प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ बाइंग इंक्रीजेस विद दैट. दैट बिकम्स पर्सनलाइजेशन. होप आई एम क्लियर. सो माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन वाज कि इज देयर एन अबंडेंस ऑफ डेटा और एनालिसिस, राइट? तो लेट मी टेल यू माय डियर फ्रेंड्स कि डेटा तो बहुत है इस दुनिया में, डेटा की कोई कमी नहीं है. जैसा मैंने आपको कहा, आपका हर एक क्लिक, चाहे वो इंस्टाग्राम पे है, चाहे लिंक्डइन पे है, चाहे अमेजोन पे, फ्लिपकार्ट, जोमेटो, स्विगी, एफएनपी, या कोई भी और वेबसाइट पे, जब भी आप एक भी क्लिक करते हो ना, वो डेटा कैप्चर होता है कि आपने कौन से प्रोडक्ट पे, कौन से प्राइस पॉइंट पे, कौन से कलर पे, कौन से डेमोग्राफिक्स पे, कौन से करेक्टरिस्टिक्स पे क्लिक किया है, लोग क्या देख रहे हैं, लोग क्या ढूंढ रहे हैं, ये सब कुछ कैप्चर होता है. हर एक इंसान की इंफॉर्मेशन कैप्चर होती है. आपका एज ग्रुप क्या है, आपकी डेट ऑफ बर्थ क्या है, आप किस सिटी से आते हैं, आप किस इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड से आ रहे हैं, आप ग्रेजुएट हैं नहीं हैं. अगर आपने कभी देखा हो, आप बैंक जाते हैं या क्रेडिट कार्ड अप्लाई करते हैं या इंश्योरेंस प्रोडक्ट लेते हैं, आपसे ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मांगी जाती है. क्यों मांगी जाती है? इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज क्या करती हैं इस डेटा से? इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज ये देखती हैं कि जो लोग एट द एज ऑफ 25 अगर स्मोक करते हैं और से बाय डिफॉल्ट डेली में रहते हैं, तो द चांसेस ऑफ देम बिकमिंग सिक इन द नेक्स्ट 5 years आर वेरी हाई. तो इसलिए शायद उस इंसान का प्रीमियम थोड़ा हाई होगा. वही एक इंसान जो एक गांव में रहता है और 25 साल का ही है और लड़का है और स्मोक नहीं करता, उसका प्रीमियम कम होगा, क्योंकि वो जानते कि ये ताजी हवा खा रहा है, इसका शायद ईटिंग हैबिट्स वैसी होंगी, तो हिज प्रीमियम शुड बी लेसर, क्योंकि इसके बीमार होने के चांसेस कम है. सिर्फ इस कारण से ही हो सकता है 2 भाई हों, ट्विंस हों, एक शहर में रहता है एक गांव में रहता है, लेकिन बिकॉज ऑफ द चेंज इन लिविंग स्टाइल दोनों का प्रीमियम अलग होगा. दिस इज हाउ द डेटा इज बीइंग यूज्ड इन एवरीडे लाइफ. एवरी विजिट दैट यू डू इन एवरी स्टोर इज बीइंग ट्रैक्ड. अगर आप किसी मॉल में जाते हैं, या आप जैसे स्कूल में जाते हैं, आजकल तो क्या हो गया ना, स्कूल के भी आईडी कार्ड्स होते हैं, ऑफिस जाते हैं तो ऑफिस के आईडी कार्ड्स हैं, तो एक एक चीज ट्रैक होती है, कितने टाइम पे आप आए, कितने टाइम पे आपने एग्जिट किया, कितने टाइम कौन से मीटिंग रूम में थे. तो इससे बहुत सारा डेटा कैप्चर होता है कि ये इंसान सीट पे ज्यादा बैठता है, या इनकी मीटिंग्स ज्यादा होती हैं, या ये ऑफिस के बाहर जाके सुट्टा ब्रेक, चाय ब्रेक, ये सब कुछ चल रहा है. तो वो सारी चीजें वैसे ट्रैक होती हैं. ट्रेवल का हर एक पॉइंट होता है, कहाँ पे लोग जाना पसंद कर रहे हैं. आपने कभी सोचा है कि दिसंबर में जब आप गोवा के लिए टिकट्स बुक कराना चाहते हैं, तो अचानक प्राइसेस बहुत हाई होते हैं? ऐसा क्यों? क्योंकि ट्रेवल में भी एक ट्रेंड है कि हाँ यार 25 दिसंबर से लगभग 4-5 जनवरी तक छुट्टियां होती हैं, लोग ट्रैवल करते हैं। इंडियंस की प्रेफर्ड डेस्टिनेशन गोवा है। गोवा में इस वक्त इतने होटल बुक हो चुके हैं, यानी कि अगर अब 20% होटल ही बचे हैं या 20% रूम्स ही पड़े हैं बचे हैं, तो लोग अपने प्राइसेस इंक्रीज कर लेते हैं, क्योंकि उनको पता है कि जिन्होंने छुट्टी मनानी है वो तो आ ही जाएगा। लोगों की ट्रैवल टिकट्स बुकड हैं, उनको कहीं रहने के लिए होटल भी तो चाहिए, तो होटल वाले अपना प्राइस हाई कर लेते हैं कि यार मैं तो पैसा कमाऊं। दिस इज हाउ द डेटा इज बीइंग यूज्ड इन एवरी डे, in a day-to-day basis by different different companies. आपको मैं एक और एग्जांपल देता हूं। मैं अपने काफी अच्छे दोस्त के साथ काम कर रहा था। अगर आपने कभी स्विगी खोल के देखा हो, तो स्विगी में क्या होता है, हर रेस्टोरेंट के नीचे लिखा होता है एवरेज डिलीवरी टाइम कितना है। ठीक है, तो मान लीजिए कुछ रेस्टोरेंट्स ने कहा 30 मिनट में, कुछ ने कहा 40 में, कुछ ने कहा 50 में। तो अब आप बताइए कि अगर आपको खाना डिलीवर करना चाहिए हो, तो आप कौन से रेस्टोरेंट्स पे पहले ऑर्डर करेंगे? जहां से 30 मिनट में आएगा, कि जहां से 40 मिनट में आएगा, या जहां से 50 मिनट में आएगा? 30 minutes, okay. Anyone else? Quick responses, please. Okay, so most of the people are saying 30 minutes, and that's so true, that you will order from the restaurants that will deliver the food faster. अब होता क्या है कि क्यों कुछ रेस्टोरेंट्स कह रहे होंगे कि 45 मिनट्स लगेगा? इज डिस्टेंस अ प्रॉब्लम? कुड बी. Is the kind of dishes that they are preparing is a problem? Could be. या वो ये रेस्टोरेंट एक ऐसी जगह पे है जहां पे बहुत सारा और रेस्टोरेंट्स नहीं है, तो कहने का मतलब है कि राइडर को वहां पे स्पेशली जाना पड़ेगा, तो वो एक और फैक्टर हो सकता है। या जहां आप रहते हैं वो शायद एक बहुत ही रश वाला एरिया है, there's a lot of rush in that area, and everyone knows that if I have to cross this road it will take me at least another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
हाँ, तो मैं बात ये कर रहा था कि at Swiggy you realize that the restaurant that takes 40 minutes, 45 minutes, or 50 minutes, there could be many reasons behind this. Now, on the basis of the data that we get, they realize that, yes, the conversion rate is also lower. And then they started interpreting the data. उन्होंने एक एक डेटा पॉइंट्स को देखना शुरू किया, समझना शुरू किया, और रियलाइज किया कि कौन से ऐसे फैक्टर्स हैं जिस कारण कुछ रेस्टोरेंट्स 40 या 50 मिनट में डिलीवर करते हैं. And then they started giving this report to those restaurants. This is how you can speed up the things, right? Maybe the preparation time that you are taking to cook, rotis and the dal is 20 minutes, whereas a normal restaurant takes say 12 minutes. So you need to speed up. You probably need more people there. So this is how the data is being used to improve the time suggestions on apps like Swiggy and Zomato, so that those restaurants can get better conversions. So no, so Gunjan, to your question, then why someone will add those details on their portal, which will lower their business? See, the thing is, this is not given by the business, right? These are automatically generated, that by default, the time that we would need to deliver food. So they break up this complete thing. So food preparation, they ask the restaurant, how much time do you need to prepare the food? Let's assume the restaurant says on an average 15 minutes. Okay, 15 minutes. Then they assume that, okay, let's assume the rider is there within those 15 minutes. Now, then they compute the time from the restaurant to the delivery location. And that times come from the Google APIs. जैसे आप Ola Uber में देखते हैं कितना time लगेगा, Google Maps पे देखते हैं from where there it comes. And now they realize, let's assume it takes another 30 minutes. So that is how you see that the food will take 45 minutes. Now the idea is, what can be improved here? Or is the rider taking more time to reach to that restaurant? So instead of reaching within 15 minutes, maybe the rider is only reaching in 25 minutes. So that means in that area, they probably need to, Zomato and Swiggy might need to bring in more riders in that area, because there's a hot demand of that. So there could be different problems. Again, every problem is seen, and then some corrective action is taken there. And more than the restaurant that is losing a business, it's basically the Swiggy or Zomato that is also losing a business there. What is the best approach to do any data analysis project? By the way, I told you that there is a lot of data. Data to har jagah hai, har point mein hai. Lekin as I said in the beginning, there are very few people who have the art of analyzing the data. Movies har saal bahut banti hai. लगभग 250 से 300 मूवीज बनती हैं, लेकिन चलती सिर्फ 4-5 ही है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा 10, because there are very few directors or producers who know how to direct a awesome movie which should have a good storyline, which should have a good star cast, which should have a good direction, choreography, music and everything, right? There are so many different aspects. कुछ मूवीज सिर्फ इसलिए बच जाती हैं क्योंकि उसका म्यूजिक अच्छा नहीं होता, राइट? कुछ म्यूजिक मूवीज आपने देखी होंगी वेयर यू सेड कि यार इट हैज अ ऑसम स्टोरी लाइन, मुझे तो पिक्चर बड़ी पसंद आई पर पता नहीं क्यों चली क्यों नहीं, राइट? तो उसमें हो सकता है डायरेक्शन या स्टार कास्ट प्रॉब्लम हो। और ऐसा भी होता है कि मूवीज दैट हैव सलमान खान एंड द शाहरुख खान और ऋतिक रोशन, वो पिक्चर भी पिटती हैं। अब स्टार कास्ट तो बहुत अच्छी थी, पिक्चर क्यों पिट गई? तो बिकॉज शायद स्टोरी लाइन नहीं थी या सॉन्ग्स अच्छे नहीं थे। सो the way there are very few people who know how to make movies, there are very few people who know how to read each and every data and then take an action item. So what should be the best approach to analyze the data? First is there has to be an identification of a problem. ठीक है, कि एक्चुअली में प्रॉब्लम है क्या? एंड इट सेड दैट द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज इन सॉल्विंग प्रॉब्लम इज आइडेंटिफाइंग द राइट प्रॉब्लम। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपको किसी ने कहा कि आपको अपना फिटनेस लेवल बढ़ाना है, ठीक है? अब फिटनेस लेवल की बहुत सारी डेफिनेशंस होती है, ठीक है? आपको लगा फिटनेस लेवल बढ़ाना है मतलब मुझे अपना वेट लूज करना है। नाउ इज वेट लूज द राइट मेट्रिक्स? प्रोबेबली नो। फिटनेस वुड मीन दैट मे बी यू आर बिट लेजी, आप उठने में थोड़ा सा इजी गोइंग रहते हैं, आपका एटीट्यूड ऐसा है कि टीवी के आगे बैठे हैं तो बैठे हैं, आपका एटीट्यूड ऐसा है कि फोन देख रहे हैं तो देख रहे हैं। अगर कहूं कि यार 1 मिनट में उठ के ये चीज पकड़ाना, तो आप उठ नहीं पाएंगे। नाउ दैट इज probably a fitness. There's a bit of laziness in the body, which could be because there are not proper multivitamins in your body, right? Or this could be because you have been groomed or trained this way that you have never helped anyone in your house, right? Or it could be that you are having a fever that day, or it could be that you are actually overweight. So there could be multiple reasons. So let's just try to find out what is the biggest concern there. फीवर तो नहीं है, वेट तो मेरा ओके है, राइट? जितना मेरी हाइट है और जितना वेट होना चाहिए वेट तो ठीक है, तो इसका मतलब कोई कुछ और रीजन है। एंड देन यू स्टार्ट the second stage is you start collecting the data. And now how do you collect the data? Maybe you need to track your weight, your blood pressure, your temperature, and maybe a complete health test once you get it done, and then you see, okay, where am I lacking? And maybe in that health report what you realize is that, okay, maybe there are high carbohydrates in my body, right? Or maybe there the fats is actually very high, right? Or there is a deficiency of vitamins, right? तो अब तीनों का अलग अलग solution है, तो you have to go to the doctor and you have to take his recommendations there. Third is you have to clean the data and understand it. What does cleaning and understanding the data here means? Let's assume आप रोज कभी आप या कभी आपकी फैमिली डेटा को ट्रैक करती है। आपका मान लीजिए रोज का टेम्परेचर होती है, अब आप मेजर कर रहे हैं फ़ारेनहाइट में और आपके पेरेंट्स ट्रैक कर रहे हैं सेल्सियस में। तो रोज के जब नंबर्स लिखे होंगे वो एक दिन फ़ारेनहाइट में लिखा होगा, एक दिन सेल्सियस में, फिर अगले दिन फिर सेल्सियस में, देन अगेन इन फ़ारेनहाइट एंड लाइक दिस। नाउ कैन यू यूज दैट डेटा? आंसर इज नो, बिकॉज यू हैव टू क्लीन इट। और लेट्स अज्यूम आपने नंबर्स ऐसे लिखे हैं कि उसके आगे फ़ारेनहाइट और सेल्सियस लिखा ही नहीं है। So that data understanding and data cleaning has to be done. You try to analyze ki, is my sleeping patterns okay? Is my sitting posture okay? What are my eating habits? Am I eating the right food at the right time? Am I going for some physical exercises? Is my and after doing, and then you take some action on that. कि ठीक है यार, शायद मेरी रूटीन में ना there is no physical exercise. Okay, from tomorrow let me start cycling. Now let's assume you're doing cycling for 2 months. 2 months later, you again get your health test done, and you still realize कि आपकी प्रॉब्लम तो सॉल्व हुई नहीं, फिटनेस अभी भी वैसा ही है और बॉडी के फैक्टर्स अभी भी वैसे ही हैं। Why? Because प्रेवली आपकी जो प्रॉब्लम थी वो कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स की थी, and cycling might not help with that. So that means you're taking a wrong action. Now that is when you again need to re-examine the numbers and then re-decide that, okay, मेरा शायद ये action सही नहीं था, मेरे को दूसरा action लेना है। Now let me rephrase this complete thing in a business problem also. Business problem is, let's assume we realize, or the business problem given to me is कि Rajat, Last month, we did business of, say, 100 crores. This month, we did business of only 80 crores. Why? Right? Now, what I need to do is I need to collect all the data. तो मुझे ये तो पता है कि business इतना हुआ है. I will also track things like कितने orders आए थे, कितना average transaction size था. I'll also need to collect data like कि marketing team ने spends कितने किए थे, हमारी ads चल भी रही थी कि नहीं चल रही थी. ठीक है. So in the business case, what I was referring to is that so we're talking about the lower revenue. So we'll see the orders and the ATV and then the marketing spends and the visits. And of course, I need to clean this complete data to understand key whether all the data points are in right format. It might happen that my revenue could be in crores, my visits could be in millions, my orders could be in thousands. So I need to just put that in a right number format also. And that is how we'll analyze that. Okay, एक्चुअली जो 100 करोड़ की बजाय 80 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू हुआ था, उसका कारण ये है कि एक तो मैंने मार्केटिंग स्पेंड भी कम किए हैं 10%. अब अगर 10% पैसा कम लगाया है तो शायद 10% बिजनेस भी कम आता. तो इसका मतलब अगर 100 करोड़ की बजाय 90 करोड़ का धंधा किया तो आई एम ओके, राइट. फिर आप देखते हैं कि विजिट्स तो बहुत अच्छे आए थे लेकिन कन्वर्ट नहीं हुआ. अब कन्वर्ट क्यों नहीं हुआ? फिर आप पूरी कस्टमर की जर्नी को स्टडी करना शुरू करते हैं कि पेज 1 टू पेज 2, पेज 2 टू पेज 3, पेज 3 टू पेज 4, हाउ मेनी पीपल आर गोइंग, पहले कैसे जाते थे, अब कैसे जा रहे हैं, ड्रॉप ऑफ्स क्यों हो रहे हैं. फिर आप उसको डिवाइस वाइज, आप उसको सिटी वाइज, आप उसको लैंडिंग पेजेस वाइज, आप उसको मोबाइल पे देख रहा था कि डेस्कटॉप पे देख रहा था कि ऐप पे देख रहा था, इस तरह डेटा को देखना शुरू करते हैं. और मे बी आपको रियलाइज होता है कि अच्छा हाँ, लास्ट मंथ मेरा एक पेज में कोई प्रॉब्लम था जिसके कारण पीपल वर नॉट मूविंग फ्रॉम पेज 1 टू पेज 2 और इसलिए वो लोग तो वेबसाइट छोड़ के चले गए. तो नाउ द एक्शन दैट यू नीड टू टेक इज, ठीक है, मुझे वो पेज ठीक कराना है. And once that page is fixed by the technology team, then you again try to collect the data and see the impact whether now the conversions or the business has grown or not. Usse pehle, let me tell you one thing as a data analytics, the by default metrics that is expected from you to do is to be accurate. Let me tell you a very common joke which is there in this data analytics industry. Once a person went to a CEO for an interview of a business analyst. The CEO asked, we are ready to give you a job if you promise that you can give us the numbers very, very quickly. So the person said, of course, I can give numbers very quickly. So he said, let me take a test of yours. What is 108 into 86? This person said 2000. The CEO said, but that's incorrect. And the business analyst said, sir, you asked for a quick data. I am giving you quick data. You never asked for accuracy. I'm not giving you accuracy. But my dear friends, if tomorrow you are landing in a job which is related to data, please make sure you are at least 90% accurate. And any numbers that you fetch, you need to cross check with the major KPI. कि अगर 100 करोड़ का धंधा है, आपका एनालिसिस में एटलीस्ट 90-95 करोड़ का की रेशियो है या नहीं है. ऐसा तो नहीं आप 40 करोड़ के बिजनेस पे ही अपना एनालिसिस कर रहे हैं. Then no one is going to accept that. How to identify the problem. So let me just talk about how to analyze the data in your day-to-day life. And this data is related to the money that you earn, right? Or you may earn, or someone in your house is already earning, right? How you need to analyze it. I'm just giving you one framework, which I personally also use. I see these numbers every month to track how much am I earning, how much am I spending, how much am I investing. Because you cannot become wealthy only by earning more. You become wealthy by spending less, by investing very, very intelligently. My dear friend, can you please be on mute? All right, going ahead. So this approach is called IEAL approach, where I stands for your income. So what you need to do is you need to understand how much money are you as a household or as an individual earning. So let's assume your category is salary, right? So in salary, you need to see your your income slip every month. How much was your basic salary? How much was your HRA? How much were your and other benefits? How much bonus have you earned? How much commission you have earned, right? So this is what you need to track every month. And let's assume you're also earning something from, say, some kind of a business, right? You have some business and you say, what is my income from there? And then how much money are you earning from your savings? So for example, how much interest you are getting, or how much are the other sundry incomes. That means कोई आपको शगुन दे गया, कोई आपको गिफ्ट्स दे गया, कुछ आपने वाउचर्स जीत लिए. So this is how you will start categorizing and start writing how much money you are earning, right? And then you just need to do a sum of all these things. Okay. So this will actually help you understand whether your income is going up or down every month or not. Okay. I'm not putting any numbers for the time being, but I'm just writing random things. So let's assume if you are earning salary, more or less it will remain same every month. And let's take a very random example of 30,000 rupees. So let's assume you're just earning 30,000 rupees for rest of the year also. Okay. Now what you need to do is you need to track your expenses. Okay. So there would be some fixed expenses that you would be doing. Let's assume your rent, your school fees of your kids, some petrol charges, your grocery, right? So these are fixed expenses, irrespective of whether you are earning or not, you have to do this, right? Then there could be some other expenses, or we can call it, say, luxury expenses, or say controllable expenses, like food, right? Now, you have a habit of going out and ordering food. So that is something you can control. Clothes, you might or might not buy new set of clothes, right? You can control that. What else? What else is controllable? Maybe, entertainment. So maybe you are spending a lot of money going out for movies every week, and this is something that you can actually control, right? Other than that, you have some expenses like, we'll call it luxury expenses. So you're going on a holiday. So let's assume you're earning 30,000 per month, but you're spending 15,000 in going on a road trips every month, right? So you need to track that. And other luxury expenses could be buying some, expensive items. For example, इस साल तो जी मुझे को iPhone 13, iPhone 14 I want to buy, so you have spent maybe 1 lakh rupees on that, right? Like this, there could be more things, and you can just put it here, right? So this is how you will track your expenses. And let's assume now you realize that your total of expenses is, say, 30,000 here, 40,000 here, and then 35,000, and then 20,000, and so far and so forth, right? So once you track these numbers, you will realize that what is the kind of money that you are saving. So this is your savings now. Are you guys with me, or I'm going too fast? This is what you earned. This is what you have spent. Oh my God. So basically in this year, you have overspent 15,000 rupees. Okay. Now you realize that, I earn so well. I earn 30,000 rupees per month, but my bank balance is always negative, or I have to always repay some kind of money to my friends. But once you analyze this data, you will actually realize that you are doing things wrong, because you are doing some random expenses which were actually not needed. So that is what is a data analysis becomes. Similarly, you need to look at your assets, right? Now, again, assets are of various types. There are liquid assets, something like your cash, your bank balance. Liquid asset is which you can very easily encash, your Paytm balance. Then it can also, okay, so this is your liquid assets. Then there is something called a semi-liquid assets, which is something like your stocks, your mutual funds, right? Your fixed deposits. Why is this semi-liquid? Because sometimes it takes 1 to 2 days to encash it. If you have to pay something right in the next 1 hour, maybe you are unable to encash your mutual funds because it takes at least 2 days to encash that, right? So you need to understand how my assets are allocated. Then you have something called a long-term assets. For example, your provident fund, right? If you're not sure, if you have money in your provident fund, you just cannot encash it. The money in your NPS, which you will get you once you turn 60, right? Maybe some kind of a jewelry, right? Now you have bought gold, you just cannot sell it very, very quickly. And then you have something called a fixed assets, your home. एक घर बाय कर लिया 50 लाख रुपए का, अब आपको पैसे की जरूरत है हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन के लिए, यू हैव टू स्पेंड से 20 लाख रुपीज. You cannot sell your house immediately, right? You would need some time to sell it. So that becomes your fixed asset. Maybe your car is some kind of a fixed asset. You can sell your car, but not that quickly. And then some expensive household items that can actually be sold. Household items. And now this all becomes your list of total assets. So you need to analyze that, okay, let's assume 90% of your wealth is in cash or bank balance. So will you be able to earn anything on that? Answer is no, because the cash पे तो कुछ interest होता ही नहीं है. Bank 3-4% interest देता है. Had your 90% been here, you would have got some benefits, but हो सकता है that is very risky because the stock market has actually gone down or the mutual funds have gone down. So that could be your loss making. What if your 90% of the money is here, right? If you need money immediately, आज शाम को ही किसी को payment करनी है, you are not able to encash that. So even that is not the right technique. And let's assume your 90% of the money that you have already bought a house of that. फिर तो ये हो गया कि मैं दे ही नहीं सकता किसी को payment, right? So there has to be a very good ratio you need to have between your liquid, semi-liquid, long-term assets and fixed assets. Different financial experts give different numbers there. It varies from person to person, varies from age to age, it varies from household to household. तो हो सकता है कि मैं जानता हूं कि मेरे फादर के पास बहुत सारा पैसा लिक्विड में पड़ा है और जरूरत पड़ेगी तो मैं ले सकता हूं. So maybe I am buying a house. That's a fair case because as a household I'm looking at the income now. And the last thing you need to check is how much liabilities are you having. Liability is something like how much credit card payment aapne abhi already it's due on you. Credit card is basically an unsecured loan, and therefore it has a maximum rate of return that you need to pay back to a bank. Right? If you are not sure how much that is, it varies from 3 to 4% every month, which means 36 to 40% every year. So अगर आप credit card पे, let's assume you have bought an iPhone of 1 lakh rupees on credit card and you are unable to pay that within the next 30 or 45 days, then there is some interest charged on that, which is 3% per month. तो अगर आप उसको एक साल में repay करोगे, तो instead of iPhone which actually costed you 1 lakh, probably you will be paying 1,40,000 rupees for the same phone. And the worth of that phone, once it comes out in the market, is always lesser. That means वो 1,40,000 का फोन एक साल बाद शायद आपको सिर्फ 70,000 का रिटर्न ही दे. So you need to compute these kind of things. This is also part of financial analysis or data analysis that you may say, right? Similarly, आपने car loan ले रखा है. Now car loan, again, let's assume you thought of buying a car worth 5 lakh rupees and you have taken a loan. So hota kya hai, the car, as soon as it comes out of the showroom, the price of that car actually depreciates. So even if your car is 1 day old and you want to sell it, you won't be able to get it 5 lakh rupees on that. You will be getting 4,50,000 or 4,25,000, something like this. So the value of the car has actually gone down. And let's assume in 1 year, you have paid 7 to 8 or 10% interest on that. Now this car actually costed you 5,50,000 after 1 year. And after 1 year, this car will be only for 4 lakh rupees, right? So this is how you need to see that what am I buying by taking the loans? Then you take home loan. Maybe it makes sense only if you're buying a property which is where you expect a lot of good returns to happen, right? And of course, there could be many other payables that you can write about it. You can write about what is my interest rate that I'm paying. And therefore, you try to close those liabilities where you are paying the maximum rent so that your total wealth or your total earnings or your total income should increase, right? This is a typical example of financial analytics and a typical example of day-to-day analysis that you need to do. Are you guys with me? You found this interesting? बोरिंग, समझ नहीं आया, ऊपर से निकल गया. So I think I'm left with just one or two more slides. We can skip this one. We can talk about some very quickly some metrics which we see on a daily basis in an e-commerce platform. ठीक है, ये मैंने I have not written a laundry list. There are actually 25 to 30 metrics that I track on a day-to-day basis, but I've just written very high-level ones. Revenue, how much business am I doing? So let's assume you have a shop. ठीक है, मान लीजिए आपका हल्दीराम्स का एक स्टोर है. ठीक है, तो हल्दीराम्स के स्टोर में आप क्या क्या देखेंगे? सॉरी, इट्स अ बैड एग्जांपल. लेट्स अज्यूम आपका ऑनलाइन पोर्टल जोमेटो, आप यू आर फाउंडर ऑफ जोमेटो, राइट? तो आपको देखना है कि मेरी वेबसाइट पे रोज कितने लोग आते हैं या मैं कितना बिजनेस कर रहा हूं. तो व्हाट आर द मेट्रिक्स दैट यू विल ट्रैक? फर्स्ट इज रेवेन्यू, हाउ मच बिजनेस एम आई डूइंग एवरी डे, कितने वर्थ की ट्रांजैक्शंस आर हैपनिंग ऑन माय through my mobile app, right? The second thing that you might see in case there are returns, for example Amazon, Flipkart पे तो returns बहुत ज्यादा होते हैं, right? I know that return is free. Myntra पे the return is free. So what I do is I order 10 shirts from there. उसमें से मैं 2 रखता हूँ, 8 वापस भेज देता हूँ. And just like me, there would be many more customers who would be doing it. Now let's assume you are doing a business जिसमें 70% return हो जाता है. तो is this the right business to do? Because even in return there is a cost that a company has to incur. Delivery guy will go, it will pick up, he will send the courier back, there's a courier cost, there is a delivery boy cost. So you need to see that what is my return rate. Then revenue is basically comes from 2 different variables. One is कि कितने order किए हैं लोगों ने past में और कितना transaction size था. तो लेट्स अज्यूम आज से 1 साल पहले भी जोमेटो पे 100 ऑर्डर होते थे और आज भी 100 ऑर्डर होते हैं, लेकिन आज से 1 साल पहले लोग 1000 रुपए का खाना मंगवाते थे, लेकिन आज सिर्फ 800 रुपए का खाना मंगवाते हैं. तो ओवरऑल रेवेन्यू गिरेगा कि नहीं गिरेगा? गिरेगा, राइट? सो दैट मींस रेवेन्यू देयर इज अ डी ग्रोथ. लेकिन वो क्यों है? क्योंकि शायद हमने अपने पोर्टल पे थोड़े सस्ते रेस्टोरेंट्स का अपलिफ्ट किया है. हमने शायद वहां पे थोड़ा ढाबा स्टाइल वाला कल्चर लेके आए हैं जहां से लोग लो टिकट आइटम बाय कर रहे हैं, या इंडस्ट्री में एक रिसेशन चल रहा है, लोग पैसा खर्चने से अभी डर रहे हैं. तो मे बी दैट इज द रीजन कि एवरेज ट्रांजेक्शन वैल्यू कम हुआ है और इसलिए शायद रेवेन्यू भी मेरा कम हो रहा है. द नेक्स्ट मैट्रिक्स दैट मोस्ट ऑफ द बिजनेस ट्रैक इज द ग्रोथ. पिछले साल कितना किया, इस साल कितना किया. बहुत सारे बिजनेसेस में एक सीजनैलिटी होती है. हमारे एफएनपी पे भी देयर इज अ सीजनैलिटी. वैलेंटाइंस डे, राखी, मदर्स डे, फादर्स डे, इस दिन हम बहुत ज्यादा धंधा करते हैं. तो वी ऑलवेज कंपेयर कि पिछले साल राखी पे क्या हुआ था. अगर मान लो इस साल राखी 11 अगस्त की थी तो मैं पिछले साल 11 अगस्त से कंपेयर नहीं करूंगा. आई विल कंपेयर इट विद द राखी द प्रीवियस डे. तो मान लो उस साल पिछले साल 22 अगस्त को हुई थी, तो आई ऑलवेज कंपेयर माय बिजनेस कि 11 अगस्त वर्सेस 22 अगस्त को कितनी ग्रोथ आई. दैट इज हाउ वी लुक एट द नंबर्स. मार्जिन, मैं पैसा कितना बना रहा हूं, मेरी पॉकेट में कितना आ रहा है. 100 रुपए का माल भेजा, आई हैव स्पेंट 100 रुपीज, उसमें से 30 रुपीज तो कॉस्ट ही थी प्रोडक्ट की, तो 70 रुपए बचे. 70 रुपए में से 20 रुपीज डिलीवरी चार्जेस वगैरह में निकल गए. 50 रुपीज में से 35 रुपीज की मेरे सारे ऑफिस की सैलरीज और ऑफिस का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और सब कुछ, तो 15 रुपए बचे. और 15 रुपए में से भी आई एम पेइंग माई लोन, आई एम पेइंग टू द इन्वेस्टर्स, आई एम पेइंग टू अदर्स. तो कर करके मेरी पॉकेट में बचा 5 रुपए. तो 5 rupees is what is my margin. Now this 5%, is it improving or is it going down? That's what we need to track. NPS, there is a factor called NPS. NPS is actually net promoter score. What happens is many a times we can't take the feedback easily from the customers. So we promote NPS. NPS is, let's assume you have bought something from Ferns and Petals. आपने एक गिफ्ट सेंड करना था, आपने गिफ्ट सेंड कर दिया, गिफ्ट मिल गया आपकी गर्लफ्रेंड को, यू वर हैप्पी. तो हम आपसे पूछते हैं हाउ वाज योर एक्सपीरियंस, विल यू ऑर्डर अगेन फ्रॉम अस. अब अगर तो यू रेट अस 9 or 10 out of 10, we think you are a promoter. That means you will come back again to the platform and you will tell it to maybe thousands of your friends कि यार next time ना Ferns and Petals के through just send a gift. So that becomes your promoter score. Similarly, you might say 7 or 8 कि यार it was okay, I ordered, ऑर्डर चला गया, ठीक है, जितना पैसा दिया उसका प्रोडक्ट था, nothing great, nothing bad, just 7 and 8. That means you are like okay. And if you give us a rating of 0 to 6, which means you are a detractor, that means you are not very happy. Why? Because probably टाइम से प्रोडक्ट नहीं मिला, या आपको लगा कि मैंने तो इतना पैसा दिया था, 1500 का प्रोडक्ट दिया, उसकी वैल्यू जो लग रही थी वो 1000 रुपए का ही प्रोडक्ट लग रहा था, राइट? लाइक दिस we track the NPS. तो NPS स्कोर होता है कि promoters माइनस डिट्रैक्टर्स डिवाइडेड बाय टोटल रिस्पॉन्सेज, और वो एक नंबर आ जाता है। तो उस नंबर्स को हम ट्रैक करते रहते हैं कि हमारा ओवरऑल हाउ मच हैप्पी कस्टमर्स आर। Someone just asked me ATV. ATV is basically the average transaction value, यानी कि एक ऑर्डर जब होता है उसकी लगभग कीमत कितनी होती है। तो जैसे कि जोमेटो के केस में मे भी आप 500 रुपए का खाना मंगवाते हैं और हम सभी लोग 500 रुपए के ऑर्डर करते हैं, 10 लोगों ने ऑर्डर किए, तो कंपनी ने कमाया 5,000 रुपया। 5,000 डिवाइडेड बाय 10 द टोटल नंबर ऑफ ऑर्डर्स, तो बेसिकली एवरेज ट्रांजैक्शन साइज है 500 रुपए का। ओके, average order value, yes, AOV, APS, ATV, they both are more or less the same things. NPS, yes, the calculation is same. The formula is promoters, that means people who are scoring 9 and 10, minus detractors, that means people who have scored, given you a score of 0 to 6, divided by the total responses that you have received. Okay. उसके बाद हम बात करते हैं स्पेंड्स की। हाउ मच मनी आर वी स्पेंडिंग ऑन मार्केटिंग, ऑन प्रमोशंस, ऑन डूइंग सम ट्रेड फेयर्स, ऑन डूइंग सम काइंड ऑफ कैंपेनिंग, ऑन ब्रांड कैंपेन्स, टीवी स्पेंड। तो हर तरह का स्पेंड वी कीप अ ट्रैक ऑफ स्पेंड्स, एंड देन वी आल्सो कीप अ ट्रैक ऑफ पर्सन स्पेंड। सो लेट्स अज्यूम ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आई एम डूइंग अ बिजनेस ऑफ 1,000 रुपीज बट आई एम स्पेंडिंग 1,200 रुपीज इन मार्केटिंग। सो मार्केटिंग स्पेंड, व्हाट इज दैट परसेंट टू द टोटल रेवेन्यू? So different businesses keep different numbers. Let's assume hypothetically we take 20%. So that means अगर मैं इस महीने रोज 1,000 रुपए का धंधा करना चाहता हूँ, तो रोज का 200 rupees is my max cap for doing some kind of a marketing spend. ठीक है, the next we see is how many new customers are coming. So let's assume you have a shop. ठीक है, अब रोज एक ट्रांजैक्शन होती है आपकी शॉप पे। वुड यू बी हैप्पी अगर वो रोज जो ट्रांजैक्शन होती है वो एक ही कस्टमर कर रहा है, और वुड यू बी हैप्पी इफ एवरी डे अ डिफरेंट पर्सन इज कमिंग बट बाइंग वन प्रोडक्ट? व्हाट, व्हिच वन वुड बी योर चॉइस? पॉइंट नंबर ए, सेम कस्टमर कमिंग एवरी डे, और सेकंड, डिफरेंट कस्टमर कमिंग एवरी डे। बोथ आर ओके में द पीपल हु आर सेइंग नंबर वन, लेट मी जस्ट आस्क यू दिस थिंग, व्हाट इफ दिस कस्टमर शिफ्ट्स टू अ डिफरेंट सिटी, or this customer dies, or this person has a very bad experience? He bought a product from you, but that product was not good. He will not come again, और आपका business zero हो जाएगा। So that means somewhere you need a variety, but you also need a repeat. So repeat rate is something that we check, that अगर 100 लोगों ने पिछले महीने हमसे प्रोडक्ट बाय किया था, how many of them came back this month, and we track that kind of a numbers. Right? Then we also track how many people are actually using our app. Why do we track this? अब app बनाना अपने आप में, you need a technology team for that, you need product managers for that, and you need a lot of infrastructure, time and effort to build an app. लेकिन अगर app पे ज्यादा लोग आ ही नहीं रहे, या 2-3-5% लोग ही आ रहे हैं, then why do I need to keep an app? Right? ओला उबर के केस में अगर आपने देखा होगा कि उनकी डेस्कटॉप पे या एम साइट पे आप टैक्सी बुकिंग नहीं करवा सकते, राइट? तो उन्होंने वहां पे कभी फोकस रखा ही नहीं, बिकॉज दे वांट पीपल टू डाउनलोड एन ऐप and keep it right there in their phone, and the focus of the product team, of the marketing team, of everyone else, of the technology team should be on enhancing the app and not all the platforms. The last thing that I want to ask you is, numbers are always comparative. Always remember this. Okay, for example, if I tell you that the NPS of my company is 75, what would you understand with that? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? You won't be able to find anything out of that, right? So therefore it becomes very easy to understand कि मेरा जो NPS था वो पिछले कुछ महीनों में कैसा चल रहा था, वो 80 से 75 पे आया या 70 से 75 पे गया। If it has gone up from 70 to 75, that means I am doing things better. If it has come down, that means I am now doing things worse. And then we need to analyze what is going wrong. Rule number 2, always remember in data analytics, 80-20 rule applies. कई बार क्या होता है कि आपको डेटा क्लीनिंग करनी पड़ती है, there's a long list of, let's assume, Indian cities. अब Indian cities किसी को पता ही नहीं है इंडिया में कितनी cities हैं, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000, there would be so many cities. तो उस केस में आप क्या करते हैं, आप ये देखते हैं कि 20% ऐसी सिटीज मैं देख लेता हूँ जिससे 80% धंधा आ रहा है, और पता चला वो लिस्ट जो बन गई अब सिर्फ 1000 सिटीज की है। तो दैट मीन्स अगर आपने सिर्फ उसको भी क्लीन कर दिया तो यू आर गेटिंग अ data clean for at least 80% of your business, and that is how you will now be able to focus only on 1000 cities. Okay, and the last and the most important thing is, again I am saying, data analysis कोई भी कर सकता है, डेटा कोई भी निकाल सकता है, एनालिसिस करना मुश्किल होता है, लेकिन उस एनालिसिस को राइटली प्रेजेंट करना स्टेक होल्डर्स को, sometimes in a very simple language, sometimes in a complex dashboard, sometimes with the statistics, sometimes with a comprehensive story, is an art in itself, which most of the people learn only through experience and their own willingness to learn. I have two very interesting polls for you, right? Yasmin, if you can just share both the polls, I want to see how people are perceiving this.
Sure. I'll launch the second poll first.
Yeah, please. Harsh is asked. Okay, let's do the poll first. I'll answer the questions then. Guys, which one would you prefer? That you get a salary of 25,000 when everyone earns 15,000 rupees, or getting a salary of 30,000 rupees when everyone earns 35,000 rupees? And my second question is, let's assume आपका target था 90% marks लेके आने का, right? And you have always been leading in the class. तो आपका 90% marks का तो टारगेट अचीव हो गया, लेकिन आप क्लास में फर्स्ट नहीं आए. वुड यू प्रेफर दैट, और वुड यू प्रेफर कि नहीं मैं क्लास में फर्स्ट ही रहूं चाहे 85% मार्क्स आए? Which one is your preference? So 16 people have replied. There are around 34 people in the meeting. I think I should expect at least 10 more replies.
Yeah.
क्वेश्चन समझ नहीं आया तो दोबारा बोलूं? आपको खुशी कब मिलेगी? अगर आपकी 25,000 सैलरी होगी जब सारी दुनिया 15,000 कमा रही है, या आपकी सैलरी 30,000 होगी जब सारी दुनिया 35,000 कमा रही है? दैट्स क्वेश्चन नंबर 1. क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 इज, आपका टारगेट था 90% लेके आने का, आपने टारगेट अचीव कर लिया, लेकिन आपकी रैंक, अब आप टॉपर नहीं है क्लास के. और सेकंड केस, जब आप कहते हो कि नहीं मुझे तो क्लास का टॉपर बनना है, नंबर चाहे मेरे थोड़े कम आ जाए, 85% आ जाए, कोई बात नहीं, पर मुझे क्लास का टॉपर ही रहना है. Come on, guys, 2-3 more people submit your polls, and then I'll share this answers with you. Yasmin, can you share the results with everyone?
Sure.
78% लोगों ने कहा कि मैं 25,000 सैलरी में खुश हूं, पर सारी दुनिया की सैलरी मुझसे कम होनी चाहिए. और सिर्फ 22% लोगों ने, यानी कि 4 लोगों ने कहा कि नहीं मुझे सैलरी ज्यादा दे दो, 25,000 नहीं 30,000 दे दो, मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि दुनिया के पास 35 है कि नहीं. You are not comparing with yourself, you are now comparing with the world. My dear friends, if you really want to succeed in life, please start comparing with yourself कि मैं एक साल पहले कब क्या था, मैं आज क्या हूं. मार्केट डेफिनेटली बेंचमार्किंग के लिए चाहिए होती है, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप कम सैलरी ले लो, क्यों? क्योंकि मेरी सैलरी बाकियों से तो ज्यादा है. माय पर्सनल ओपिनियन, राइट? मेरी गाइडेंस यही रहेगी, इफ यू आर गेटिंग मोर सैलरी, गो फॉर इट, irrespective of what the world is getting, right? And aspire to earn even more, but by keep learning. And second question में थोड़ा contradictory हुआ. Almost 50% people are saying either of the options. 50% लोग कह रहे हैं कि नहीं मुझे तो क्लास का टॉपर ही रहना है, नंबर कम आ जाए तो परवाह नहीं. और 50% लोग कह रहे हैं कि मेरे को तो 90% मार्क्स चाहिए क्योंकि वो मेरा टारगेट था, irrespective of my targets. ठीक है, good. With that, I've come to the end of the session. I hope this session was good and engaging, and you learned how to take care of your personal income expenses. If you really love the session, please drop a yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat window so that I can understand how well you liked it. Harsh asked me a question, sir, do we have to be a good in statistics also for data analytics domain? Harsh, I'll be very, very honest with everyone. You just need to start your career by being master of one of the things. It could be dashboarding, it could be data extraction, it could be business analysis, it could be web analytics, it could be statistics, it could be anything. पहले सिर्फ एक फील्ड को पकड़ के, वो आर है, पाइथन है, टैबलू है, पावर बीआई है, डेटा साइंस की लैंग्वेज है, वो एक्सेल है, किसी एक टूल को पकड़ के जस्ट बिकम अ मास्टर ऑफ दैट फर्स्ट. Once you realize that you have really learned a lot and you can solve any business problem, then start expanding. Don't think कि यार डेटा साइंस दुनिया में हुई है, मैं तो डेटा साइंटिस्ट बन जाऊं. It's a very good field to be in, but before that you need to make your basics very very clear. You need to understand data from the root level. You need to understand how to present the data. Data science का मैंने बहुत लोगों को देखा है, डेटा साइंस के प्रोजेक्ट्स किए हैं, लेकिन जब वो प्रेजेंट करने पे आते हैं वो इतनी टेक्निकल लैंग्वेज का यूज करते हैं कि सीईओ, सीबीओ, सीपीओ, सीएमओ, हेड ऑफ मार्केटिंग, हेड ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी जो भी होते हैं, उनको समझ में भी नहीं आता कि ये बंदा क्या कह रहा है. तो होता क्या है कि आपने तो प्रोजेक्ट कर दिया, लेकिन वो प्रोजेक्ट कभी एक्चुअली में इम्प्लीमेंट ही नहीं हो पाता. दैट मीन्स आपने जितना एफर्ट किया था, अगर वो इम्प्लीमेंट ही नहीं हुआ तो उसका क्या फायदा, right? Sheikh, my question, my answer to that would be, see, definitely AI is coming in the market and it's doing wonders, but still we are at a very, very nascent stage. अगर आपने देखा होगा कि AI का यूज जैसे अब Alexa, Google Homes में होता है, but how many people are using it? The actual usage is very rare, or people are just using it for, say, listening to songs only. So अभी सिर्फ एक यूज केस हुआ है. 5 साल में we expect market, consumers and everyone else to get matured. Artificial intelligence basically है क्या? कि let's assume every day you have your tea in the morning at 8 a.m. So someone is just serving you tea at 8 a.m. now. That is intelligence, because now they know that there's a pattern that Sheikh needs a tea at 8 a.m. and it's automatically being served. Like this, there are so many things, so many use cases that businesses also needs. When I know ki, there are these X% of customers who come every day on every year on Mother's Day and send a gift to mothers, automatically an email should get triggered or a phone call should get triggered to that customer 5 days in advance and saying ki, आपने अपनी mother को gift भेजना है, तो can we do it for you, right? Or these are like top 5 products which you can send to your mother. So there are business cases, but it's still in a very nascent stage. I see a very good scope there and a lot of maturity needed in the ecosystem to make it matured. Otherwise, it might die also.
And we'll be taking only this last question, that what are the skills required to be a data analyst?
Skills की अगर बात करूं तो Rajat, my answer to you would be, you need to be very, very curious. That is a skill set. You need to be curious. You need to ask why to analyze any data. कि मैं इस data analysis से मेरा business objective क्या है, मैं क्या ढूंढने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं. If you have that skill of curiosity, I'm telling you, you can be one of the very, very successful data analysts. And unfortunately, when I go into the market to search for people to hire in my team, I don't find people who even understand कि उन्होंने ये data analysis क्यों किया था, किसके लिए किया था, क्या impact हुआ, and how it got incorporated. And thank you so much for your wonderful response on the chat window. I think I have really added value. I think I have one more poll question for you all, if you can rate that also.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll just...
Rajat, to your question that I'm an MBA student and right now I'm facing problem to learn Python. See, Rajat, don't, if you can't understand Python, it's totally fine, right? Python आज है, 5 साल बाद रहेगी नहीं रहेगी मुझे नहीं पता. 16 years ago when I started my career, we used to have SAS as language. तो कुछ सालों के बाद SAS खत्म होगी, फिर SQL आया. आज की डेट में SQL खत्म हो रहा है, लोग बीच में R आया. R और SQL अब थोड़ा डिमिनिश हो रहे हैं, Python पे लोग जा रहे हैं. So every few years a new language will keep on coming. If you are very good with coding, then it's fine. You can learn Python, you can learn R, but जरूरी नहीं है कि कोडिंग आनी बहुत जरूरी है. यू कैन मूव टू अ सिंपलर थिंग्स लाइक वेब एनालिटिक्स में भी, जहाँ पे आपको गूगल एनालिटिक्स या अडोबी एनालिटिक्स में सिर्फ ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप यूज करना है. और यू कैन मूव टू अ प्रोफाइल ऑफ डेटा एनालिसिस वेयर यू से please give me data, but I can connect it with different logics and can give you the right insight that is needed. Thank you so much everyone.